Commander Elin Rios stood silently at the helm of the deep space cruiser Astrea, her eyes locked on the massive foreign vessel drifting alongside them in the vacuum. After more than 3 months of fragile back and forth through quantum-linked transmissions, humanity had finally accomplished something once thought impossible: real-time, face-to-face interaction with an alien race. The Scifi were unlike anything Earth's xenologists had imagined. While vaguely humanoid in shape, they had elongated torsos, shimmering violet skin, and enormous eyes filled with a strange, tranquil awareness, like they'd seen the universe die and be born again. Despite possessing technology that clearly dwarfed Earth's own, the Scifi's first contact had been marked by curiosity, not conquest. "Commander," said Lieutenant Corin at the comms console, "the Scifi envoy requests permission to come aboard." Elin adjusted the collar of her uniform and gave a nod. "Let's make history. And remember, everyone sticks to the cultural protocols. We're not just representing the Astrea, we're representing Earth." Moments later, the pressurized airlock slid open with a soft hiss. 3 Scifi figures floated into the corridor, their feet not quite touching the ground, as if gravity barely acknowledged them. The tallest among them wore a flowing robe adorned with complex metallic inlays that seemed to pulse with faint energy. "I am Envoy Syra," the lead figure said, bowing with their palms together at chest level, a gesture Earth's diplomats had trained for meticulously. Elin returned the gesture. "Welcome aboard the Astrea, Envoy." "We're honored." Syra gestured to her companions. "This is Elder Torin, my historical advisor, and young Avon, an apprentice observer." "She is eager." Avon, clearly younger, couldn't hide her excitement. Her eyes scanned every surface of the corridor with electric curiosity, lingering on the glowing interface panels and kinetic wall displays. "This place is incredible," she said, her voice carrying a melodic trill. "We've reviewed your transmission records, but seeing this, it's so different in person." Commander Rios smiled. "We'd be glad to show you more. Would you like to begin with our leisure sectors?" They moved through the ship, their group attracting curious glances from passing crew. Avon fired off question after question, especially once they reached the crew habitation areas and common lounges. She seemed most intrigued by the cafeteria layout and something she called energy rituals, after witnessing someone grab coffee. The group entered the fitness deck, a high-ceilinged, glass-walled room alive with motion. Off-duty personnel were busy with physical routines: running, lifting, balancing, boxing. Avon paused mid-step, captivated. "Why are they doing this?" she asked, pointing toward a group doing synchronized burpees. "We call it exercise," Elin explained. "Maintaining physical strength and stamina is crucial for us, especially on long missions where gravity doesn't always work in our favor." She drifted over to observe a crew member on a rowing machine. "That movement, what is she mimicking?" "That's rowing," said Corin. "It imitates how ancient humans once moved boats across water using wooden paddles." "Water travel?" Avon echoed. "You had to move your own vessels?" "Not anymore," Corin chuckled, "but we still train for strength, endurance, and discipline." Avon's attention turned to a spinning device where a man was furiously pedaling. "And that?" "A cycle," Elin answered. "We use it for cardio, heart, and lung conditioning. The original version was a 2-wheeled ground vehicle for individual travel." "Curious," Avon murmured, watching the pedals spin. "You simulate travel without moving." She looked around at the bustling gym, thoughtful. "You shape your bodies with motion. We do similar, but through gravitational sculpting and kinetic meditation. It is different." Commander Rios smiled. "Maybe you could show us sometime." Envoy Syra gave a slight nod, watching her apprentice closely. "If Avon behaves." Corin continued, "The rider sits here, pushes these pedals with their legs, and that motion creates forward movement." Avon's eyes widened, her expression shifting into sheer bewilderment. "Wait, hold on," she said, pointing at the bike saddle with concern. "That goes between the legs?" The gym suddenly fell into an awkward silence. Every crew member nearby froze mid-rep or mid-step, their attention now laser-focused on the alien guest. Commander Rios caught the deep violet flush spreading across Envoy Syra's cheeks, a clear sign of discomfort. Avon, Syra said tersely in Certi, her tone firm with restrained frustration. But Elin couldn't help it. She burst out laughing. The tension shattered. Soon, the whole gym echoed with human laughter, wheezing, snorting, uncontrollable. Even Elder Torin cracked a rare grin, trying to mask it behind a hand. Avon looked horrified. "I apologize," she said earnestly, eyes flicking between faces. "Our skeletal structure is very different. The idea of straddling a device for motion, it's entirely alien to us." Elin wiped a tear from her eye, still chuckling. "No need to apologize, Avon. This is the kind of moment that makes diplomacy real. You can't plan this kind of honesty." She walked over to the nearest exercise bike and sat down, demonstrating the posture. "Our bone alignment allows us to sit this way comfortably. Legs do the work, core stabilizes the balance. It's second nature for us." Avon watched the motion with scientific intrigue. "Remarkable. Our leg joints don't fold in that orientation, we'd likely fall over attempting that. It would be structurally impractical." "So how do you move around typically?" Elin asked. Avon smiled, stepping back into an open space. With fluid, almost serpentine elegance, she demonstrated a gliding gait, her feet barely lifted, her body propelled in a seamless ripple. "We synchronize limb motion in harmony," she explained. "It's similar to your swimming strokes, only we use it on land." The exchange continued for hours. The Cerati were captivated by the diversity of human movement, crawling, jumping, sprinting, even breakdancing videos from Earth archives. Meanwhile, the humans were awestruck by the Cerathi's elegant, low-impact mobility and physical poise. What started as an awkward comment became a turning point, an unfiltered moment that opened both sides to deeper understanding. Later, in the quiet of the commander's quarters, Syra offered a formal apology. "I regret my apprentice's lack of restraint." Commander Rios shook her head. "Don't." Her reaction was sincere, and that's what matters. It's through these unscripted moments that we actually learn something. Syra gave a small, genuine smile, the first relaxed expression Elin had seen from her since boarding. "You are perceptive, Commander. Perhaps that's why your people have managed to push into the stars, despite your, let's say, unusual choices in transportation." As the Cerati delegation prepared to depart, Avon approached Elin once more, her tone softer now. "Commander Rios, today was unforgettable. I've learned that your species, while peculiar in practice, thrives through adaptability, and your humor is infectious." Elin grinned. "And we've learned that the greatest breakthroughs sometimes come from the most unexpected questions." The Astrea would go down in the record books as the first Earth ship to forge lasting ties with a non-human species, thanks, in part, to a curious young alien's genuine confusion over a workout machine. It turned out that across the stars, laughter traveled just as far as light. As the Cerati ship pulled away and vanished into the darkness, Elin leaned back, still grinning. "Who knew," she muttered to herself, "that a stationary bike would be the key to interstellar peace?" In the days that followed, the incident aboard the Astrea rippled outward, sparking an unexpected wave of goodwill. Reports from Earth's diplomatic channels lit up with requests for further dialogue, cultural exchange, and cooperative research with the Cerati. What had begun as a simple first contact had transformed into something more, something human. Back on Earth, media outlets hailed the encounter as a historic milestone, but they got the details wrong. It wasn't the advanced tech, the subspace agreements, or the peaceful handshake that made the difference. It was a laugh. A simple, unfiltered moment of shared embarrassment that cut through layers of protocol and posturing. Commander Rios would later reflect that the greatest moments in human history rarely looked heroic in the moment. They were messy, awkward, sometimes hilarious. And yet, it was in these unpredictable corners that real connection happened. Avon's comment would become something of a running joke across both fleets. Engineers in Earth's orbital academies started naming new prototypes after her. Avon-class bikes became the unofficial symbol of the Earth-Serathi alliance, and a stylized image of her confused expression ended up as a commemorative patch worn by both species. The message was clear: vulnerability, curiosity, and humor weren't weaknesses, they were bridges. As the stars stretched on endlessly before them, Elin realized that diplomacy wasn't just about treaties or translations. It was about finding the parts of ourselves that others could recognize, regardless of biology or background. The universe was vast. But thanks to a stationary bike, it suddenly felt just a little bit smaller. And somewhere, out there in the dark, a Sarati apprentice was probably telling her people about the weird, loud, bike-riding species from Earth, with a smile on her face. Peace had a new ambassador: curiosity.